Alright, what is up guys? I'm Rick Harrison, this is my pawn shop, and today I'm going to be going over New Vegas companions. If you guys remember, I think one of the videos I made, I ranked Fallout 4 companions. Now this one's going to be a bit different because there isn't as many companions, and they aren't as out there as New Vegas companions. So instead of like putting companions into a separate group like I tried, I'm just gonna rank them one by one, kind of like from worst to best. As you can see here, I have this again. This is a mess because I tried to write it in pen, and I also have this little thing that I do want to mention called Companion Suite. If you guys remember, there was like a little thing where like companion nervous and things, like the higher the charisma, the more damage threshold your companions have, and I think more damage they do. But with the patch, Companion Suite took place of the nerves. So now, I think from this point on, there is no nerves. There is just Companion Suites, and what it does is, when you have a companion with you, it decreases their carry weight by 75. I saw this on the Fallout Wiki, so I may be wrong here. They increase the damage threshold by 50, sneak by 100, and for Cass, she has the Shotgun Surgeon perk, so which is pretty good. But as you guys will see in a moment, I didn't. Whatever. Few things before I get started though. I do want to say I am not including DLC companions. Those are all temporary companions. I mean, once you're done with the DLC, they're useless. And for this purpose, I will not be including Eddie's Lonesome Road perks. The reason that is it's so much to cover. Hold on. It's so much to cover. I would just not be able to go through all of them. So instead, I will be including his perks after completing his personal quest, and some of these here. Two of these companions do not have. They all have quests, but two of them are unmarked. So it could be difficult to do and to get them if you don't know how to get them. One of the people I put on here, I just put without the companion quest, because you can just basically do it without it. So yeah. So, there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 companions. I thought there were 10. And freaking Fallout 4 has more. So that's why I didn't put them in the list, because I started it off with like the 2 as like one group, but then I realized like the rest is just gonna be like their own separate things, so I was like, why not? So, starting in at the worst is Rex. I'm not including special stats for these, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Rex is pretty useless. Here's why. First of all, he doesn't have a melee. He only has a melee attack. He doesn't have a ranged attack. And his damage threshold is pretty low, which means he attacks bad and his damage threshold is bad, which means he's basically a meat shield. So, yeah, but even after completing his quest, you have a choice of getting Lupus Brain, which increases damage threshold. I'm not going over the basics because I cannot remember all of that. You can get Raised Brain, which increases damage, or you have Violetta, which increases movement speed. If you want to complete the personal quest and get really good stats, either go to Caesar's Legion and get Lupus Brain, or pay to get Raised Brain, or pass a speech check, or you can just kill them and then get the brain. But that just seems bad. Rex personally has nothing special going for him, which in a way kind of breaks my heart, because whenever I first started playing New Vegas, a few years back before this year, Rex was all I used, not knowing you can have 2 companions, so it kind of felt bad. Next is Cass. Cass is basically just a little bit better than Rex. She does have a ranged weapon, which is pretty good, but it is the Caravan shotgun, which is pretty good at the start, but then after a while you might as well just replace it with something else. But and her secondary weapon is a machete or a knife. Common knife. I don't know. I mostly stick to their primaries. But she's more proficient with the shotgun. Her damage threshold is pretty bad because she's a human companion, which means that it's all based off what she wears, and what she wears is pretty terrible. I think it gives like a damage threshold of 2. But if you complete a personal quest making her peaceful, you can up her damage threshold to, I think, 5 or something. I don't know. But if you make her vengeful, her shotgun does more damage with the shotgun surgeon, which is pretty good. But again, it's kind of wasted on the Caravan shotgun. Another thing is her actual perk. Oh, I forgot. These all have like perks. Rex is also pretty bad because it's just search for good stuff, even stuff you wouldn't need. Cass, I never really drink a lot of whiskey or Wasteland tequila, but when I do, the whole thing, the withdrawal doesn't really bother me a whole lot. I just never notice it, so it never bothers me. So it's pretty lackluster. Next is Lily. This is one that was easy, but I was kind of thinking whether to put her within that realm, but I'll explain why she's higher up in the two. Again, Lily's personal quest stuff is kind of bad because you basically, it almost feels like you're using her to your advantage. If you complete a personal quest, you either have her increase her melee weapon to 100 or melee weapons skill to 100%, which means she's more proficient with the Vertibird blade, whatever. But at the cost of her going crazy once her health is 50% gone. Then you have the one which I thought was pretty standard, but I guess it isn't. Then you have like her basic one, don't remember what that is, and then you have one where her health is pretty low, she goes into rage mode. So personally, I usually don't use her at all. I probably used her the least of all of these companions, but what makes her good is the fact that she can take the most damage. Though for her being a Nightkin, she is basically, if you use ranged weapons, she's gonna get in the way most of the time, which means that you will hit her more times than your enemy. So that is something to think about. And her perk, along with I think 1 or 2 more in here, is pretty hit or miss. The only time which I think increases stealth boys by like 50%, or the stealth boy duration by 50%. The only time I've ever used this was during the quest Arizona Killer, because I failed it the first time, so I went back again, did it, beat it the second time. So it got, and then eventually after a while I was like, you know what, let me not use Lily to complete the quest. So after a while I just found I don't really need her anymore. And plus, if you just complete Guess Who I Saw Today in Jacobstown, you get her ending either way, so her companion quest is basically useless. And if you want to get the good ending, just don't use her at all, or just send her to the Lucky 38th, because she has a tendency to die. Which has happened, I think, 2 or 3 times. Maybe more, I don't remember. So yeah, Lily is pretty good, but not as good as some of these higher ups. I did also want to mention some of these you may disagree with me on. These are also my opinion, but I do have a reason for putting these here for reasons. Eddie would be higher up if I didn't want to include the educated perk, which you get by getting the 5 different Eyebots for the Eddie and the Lonesome Road or the Divide. But since I'm not, he's on here. He's this down low. I swear I'm forgetting someone. Whatever. Eddie's pretty good. I didn't want to make rank the humanoid companions and then the non-humanoids, because this would be like a short those would be so short, so I decided to combine them. Eddie increases your intelligence. I don't know by how much, but it is pretty good if you do like a sniper build. That's really good. Other than that, like his personal quest, makes him a bit better. If you decide to turn him into the Brotherhood of Steel, he gets more damage threshold. If you decide to turn him into the Followers of the Apocalypse, he gets more damage. He deals more damage, which depending on what you play could be good. Turning him into the Brotherhood of Steel could be good if you're doing hardcore mode. Or if you turn him into the Followers of the Apocalypse, could be good at overall, which again kind of depends on how you want to play it. Personally, I've only done hardcore mode, finished it once, and I haven't used any companions throughout that whole thing, aside from their personal quests, which sucked. But overall, I would say just go with what you want. Yeah, next was gonna be Veronica, but for reasons I'll explain later, I'm deciding to put Arcade here. Arcade's pretty good. He's the only one who's looking through all this, whose companion quest doesn't really affect the perks that they have. So like I forgot what his perk is called, but like it increases how much hit points stim packs recover. That's it. That stays throughout the whole thing. His weapon is pretty good. He is proficient with guns or energy weapons, so his plasma defender is really good because again he's proficient in that. But secondary weapon is a Ripper, which is still pretty good because it increases damage, or it deals more damage the longer you hold on to it. And Arcade's pretty. I mean, okay, I'm gonna be honest. The only person who I've used both weapons is Veronica because I use her the most. So, but the Ripper's still pretty good. But he is more proficient with the Defender, which is pretty good. That being said, you could get the best armor in the game through Arcade, which is the Enclave armor. Now, you don't necessarily have to do his quest to get the Enclave armor. There are different ways, two separate ways of getting a complete set. One is through the Deathclaw Promontory to get the suit, and I think Jim Peak's mine, that may be Lake Lurks, whatever. There's a mine up near Jacobstown where you can get the helmet. But you do need power armor training, and the only way without the need of Arcade is through the Brotherhood of Steel. But if you don't want to associate with the Brotherhood of Steel, then Arcade would be the only way of getting it. Otherwise, you are fucked. But you could also get the Ganon Tesla armor, which is only given through Arcade, and if you side with any faction except the Legion. You can still get the Remnant's power armor by siding with the Legion or NCR House and Yes Man. But if you want the best, I think the Ganon Tesla armor is the best in the game. Maybe a little bit less. The best way to do so is to work with the NCR and then have Ganon or Arcade work with the followers, as opposed to fighting at the Battle of Hoover Dam. Sorry, I'm so awkward. That whole thing is like so much for me to take in. Next is Veronica. Again, a lot of you guys may think Arcade is a bit higher, but I'll tell you why in a moment. Veronica, let me just say, if I was being unbiased here, Veronica would definitely be number 1. I put her high up on the list. She's, like, all of my playthroughs, I have used her the most. There have been 1 or 2 times that I didn't bring Veronica with me to the Battle of Hoover Dam, but other than that, when siding with Legion or in I mostly used her whenever I sided with the Legion, which it is possible to have Veronica with you without the need of the DLCs and side with the Legion by destroying the Brotherhood of Steel. All I need to do is just complete the main story, siding with McNamara, and then go to Knight Torres, complete her quest given to you, and then you should have high enough to destroy the bunker. Now I don't know about Hardin, but that's it. I mentioned that in my Fallout New Vegas review. So Veronica is pretty good with the Power Fist, which is a pretty good unarmed weapon. I would say it's the best, but there are different uniques in the game. But as opposed to what she has, as opposed to the other melee weapons that Campania has, Veronica's is the best. She's really good with it. Kind of like Lily, her perk or her companion perk is a bit hit or miss. To me, I mostly use it whenever I use energy weapons. But with the Lone Star Road DLC, if you get the 5 Eyeballs every time, Eddie makes it useless. But in a way, I still think Veronica is better, because unlike Eddie, where you ask to use the workbench that he has, or the reloading bench that he has, you have to restart the whole conversation. But as opposed to Veronica, you go back to the conversation and be like, hey, can I use the workbench and whatever. So the reason why I put Veronica higher than Arcade is because of her companion quest perks. Plus a little bonus in there. If you make Veronica side with the Brotherhood of Steel or stay with the Brotherhood of Steel, she takes more damage by 4, which her armored suit does like 6 damage threshold. So that's a total of 10 damage threshold, along with the companion suite perk, which does plus 50, so she's at like 60 or so. I could be wrong, but she's one of the few that can wear Brotherhood. She's the only one that can wear Brotherhood of Steel T45 power armor, which I think is pretty good. Which, I mean, I think the regular T51 is the same as the Brotherhood T51, but I mean, come on, it's green. But the Brotherhood of Steel is just normal, so I don't know. Or if you make her leave, siding with the Followers of the Apocalypse during her quest, she does more damage. So personally for me, with the Power Fist, it's actually really good. But the only time I ever make her stay with the Brothers of Steel is if I sided with people like Mr. House or Caesar's Legion. And then I just make her stay with the Brotherhood because they're gonna be destroyed anyway, so she might as well be with her family before they fucking die. Other than that, whenever I do NCR Yes Man, I just make her go with the Followers of the Apocalypse because she does more damage there. And there is an extra one, but again, kind of depending on your build, or kind of based on your character, is actually really good if, one, you know how to do it, and two, if you can do it correctly. Because anytime I do an unarmed character, I always try and go for this one, because this one in particular is actually pretty good. It is her scribe counter perk that she gives you whenever you give her a dress that can be given through the Ultralux if you kill the White Glove Society. If you give her the formal wear, if you put it in her inventory, she will give you the scribe counter perk, which is useful only for unarmed characters. And if you do it right, it's so good. It kind of makes you as powerful as she is, because some of you guys who use Veronica as much as I do knows how powerful she is with that power fist, and with that, it makes her that powerful, or makes you as powerful as her. Sorry. Next is Raoul. Again, one of those would be a bit higher, but kind of like Lily, you miss out on some of the good perks that come with it if you don't know. Because again, this is another one of those unmarked quests. The rest, like Rex, Cass, Lily, or Rex, Cass, Eddie, Arcade, and Veronica, and Boone, those companion quests are marked. But Lily's and Raoul's are the only ones that aren't, for some reason. I guess that makes sense why. But if you don't know about the perk, you could, or the quest, you miss out on some really good perks. His regular perk, which, speaking of which, if you do the companion quest, his normal perk that you get just by siding with him, or just getting him without doing his quest, is still pretty good, but it is overruled if you do his quest. So once you get that quest, or once you finish his quest, whichever way you go, his regular maintenance perk is then replaced with that either old Requero and regular maintenance, or high full maintenance. Yeah. So if you complete his personal quests, you have a choice to either make him pick up his guns in honor of his sister Rafaela. But the thing I saw on the wiki was his Magnum isn't affected by it, which means you need to give him and supply him with ammunition. Which again, if you go for a good ending, you would need to get this perk to get the good ending, but if not, then you would choose full maintenance, which what it does is it slows the decay of weapons by 75%, which is good if you have I forgot what it is. It's been that long. I don't know what it is. But you get critical chances at the cost of decay. Or you get I think a 30% critical chance at the cost of decay by 30%, something like that. I don't know. It's a really useful perk. Any gun characters could use that. But again, while it is but the reason I put him up here is because even if you don't get his personal quest, his weapons or his perk is still pretty good, which slows the decay of weapons by 50%. So if you complete his personal quest, you get like a 25% slower decay rate if you make him be at peace with Rafaela and continue working with maintenance. But again, That's all depending on what you want and if you can manage to do the quest. Now, this last one was a bit difficult because to be honest, I have considered putting Veronica up here, but again, trying to stay unbiased, there was some negatives to it. To Veronica is Boone. Boone is pretty good. He's the only one besides Arcade of where no matter who you side with, if you side against Caesar's Legion, or if you side with Caesar's Legion, Boone will leave immediately. Arcade's the other one. Again, if you manage to find some way to keep Veronica after destroying the Brotherhood of Steel bunker, then Veronica will stay. Cass is pretty hard to do because you get negative affinity, and she will leave if you have like very low affinity or karma. But I play too much Fallout 4. But Boone as a whole is pretty good. His perk is amazing. It's the Spotter perk, which whether you use snipers, melee, unarmed, energy weapons, or just regular rifles, is amazing to have because you can spot out enemies, and if you complete his personal quest, he gets a suit which increases damage threshold by 15. That's it. But he is proficient with... Oh, I'm going to go over some of the other companions. I'll do that after I talk about Boone. Boone's main weapon is a hunting rifle with a scope, so I guess that immediately makes it a sniper rifle. His second weapon is a machete, which, oddly enough, on the wiki it says that even though Boone says he's not as proficient with a melee weapon as his sniper rifle, his tags are melee weapons. His melee weapons and guns. So basically saying, well, he says he's more good with the sniper rifle. It doesn't really matter with Boone, but if you ask me, give him the sniper perk, or just keep him with his gun. You'll be fine. The only problem I could see with Boone is that if you're one of those people where you want the kills, Boone's gonna take them from you. That's why I like having someone like Veronica, where while I do enjoy getting the kills, I do like to use Veronica as a way of lowering their HP and then getting the kill. Although if I don't get the kill, at least someone like Eddie or Veronica will, because those are my two mains. So yeah, I do want to go back to Veronica and Raoul because I did forget to include their weapon uses. For Veronica, I did say it was a Power Fist, but her secondary weapon is a 10mm pistol, which is weird because her tag skills is energy weapons, but she uses a 10mm pistol. I expect her to use something like a plasma defender or a plasma or a laser pistol or a plasma pistol, something like that, but she uses a 10mm pistol. I don't get it, but who am I to judge? I've actually used the 10mm pistol with Veronica. She's not that bad with it, but I'd rather much prefer her with the Power Fist because she knows what she's doing and that does a bit more damage. Raoul uses a 44 Magnum, whenever I was discussing Raoul, I didn't know if it was a 357 Magnum or 44 Magnum, but it is a 44 Magnum. Which is still pretty good. It's one of the highest damaging pistols in the game. It's not the most highest damage pistols, but it is high in there. And his second weapon of choice is I think a lead pipe, which is still pretty good. I did forget Lily's. Lily's is an assault carbine, which is still pretty good, but again, with the weapon spread and all that, it's not really that useful. Yeah, so that, again, I didn't include DLCs, because To be honest, the only people who would be affected would be Veronica and Eddie. That's it. But other than that, and besides, Elijah's ramblings or Elijah's last words are pretty useless because she is unarmed, not melee. That affects her melee. That's something to consider for some of you people. Elijah's ramblings and last words affect the melee skill, not the unarmed. At least from what I saw. So if you want to give Elijah's message to Veronica, it increases her melee. It increases her melee, not her unarmed. And I think Veronica gets something out of it as well. I don't remember but it also increases your melee damage. But it gives her something in return if you give her like if you get the Elijah's Ramblings perk or something. Doesn't matter. But yeah. And before you ask, yes, the 50 damage threshold on Boone's clothes is the same whether you give him the the first recon survival outfit or the first recon assault outfit. That's something I noticed. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. And the first recon assault outfit is a faction armor, which the only time something like that ever really affects someone. First of all, it's useless against Boone because he wears NCR clothing no matter what. But not only that, the faction armors should really only affect you, which is something dumb I found. I'm just looking through here, see if there's anything I missed. I don't think there is. Personally, yeah, I didn't include special stats in this because, does anyone ever really pay attention to special stats in New Vegas? I pay attention to it in Fallout 4 because it's useful there. It increases sneak chance, agility increases sneak chance. And I'd rather sneak around successfully in Fallout 4, but in New Vegas, sneaking is basically useless. Yeah, that is my list. Hopefully you guys agree with me. If not, cool. I don't give a shit. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of my list. If there is something you would change, someone you would make lower on the list, someone higher on the list. Again, I did want to include Arcade higher on the list, but due to the fact that he doesn't really have quest effective perks as opposed to people like Rex, Cass. Basically, he's the only one whose perk doesn't really change based off his quest. The only thing he gets out of it is either nothing or his family Tesla armor. So he's basically, to me, of all the companions that are throwaways, Arcade's a throwaway. Because after you complete his personal quest, he's the only one you can't get back. No matter who you side with. Whether you side with Caesar's Legion or NCR House, or if you work with NCR or Caesar's Legion, you can't get him back after its quest. But even after completing the people's quests, you can still get him back. So, to me, of all the companions, I feel like Arcade is just a throwaway. But that is my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe for more. I'll try. I've been away for 2 weeks. The reason that is just because I've been going back and forth between this place and another apartment. Which kind of helps. It gives me more ideas for videos. And that's kind of where this came from. I did have another one planned, but I don't know if I want to do that one. Yeah, subscribe to see whenever I upload. I don't have a schedule. And share with your friends if they like New Vegas or something like that. Or, you don't have to. I'm not here to force you. I'm just here to give you guys videos. So yeah, like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for whenever I upload. Leave a comment if you agree with my list. Or if you just want to have a discussion about New Vegas, I'd be happy to talk about it. It is my all-time favorite game. It's definitely the top 3, but definitely number 1 is my all-time favorite Fallout game. I did have another review coming, but I don't know about that one. That game's because that contrary to what I did with the New Vegas build to my New Vegas review and the Last of Us review, I probably won't be doing that one because that one's pretty old. I did New Vegas because it's like the internet's favorite game. And with The Last of Us, which was pretty old, I just did it because the researchers of Last of Us 2. But who knows? I might try that one because I'm running low on video ideas. But I want to give you guys something. So yeah, I'm Losing Maniac. Peace.